Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Football Daily Weekly. Lovely to have you with us. Laurence is here.
Scrawny.
And Dave is here as well.
Hi guys.
Good to see you, Dave. You've got the facial hair, which is now customary on the Football Daily Weekly.
It's coming back into fashion.
It never went away as far as I'm concerned. Now, what were the 5 things we learned from the weekend's footballing action? First up, Tim Sherwood is a genius.
We learned that?
We suspected it for many a year, I think. Aston Villa are in the final of the FA Cup, Dave. What a win against Liverpool. They played very well, and the formation he used was very interesting indeed.
So they went with a 4-3-3, but there was a lot of fluidity there. There was a lot of interchange between positions. Christian Benteke, Delph, Grealish, all moving around the pitch, all getting into different channels, really targeting that area behind the Liverpool right wing-back, which is, as I mentioned before, a massive problem for Liverpool at the moment. Teams have worked out if they drop a big striker over there, bring other players into play, it really causes them problems.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. Sherwood set his team up very well, Laurence. And, you know, Chan was playing right wing back. There was an area there to be targeted. And Sherwood did that very effectively. And he has to take credit. He can be a bit of a buffoon in front of the media and so on and so forth. But credit where credit's due.
He also anticipated a change at half-time, because Rodgers did change it up at half-time by bringing Balotelli off Markovic, who was originally playing right wing back, and I think really what you're saying.
Of course.
What you're saying is Chan was playing the right side of central defence, so he's playing part of that back three. And Liverpool have always struggled with a triumvirate at the front, and especially in triangles. So they always struggle against a big man leading two other guys, and that's been a long-term problem for Liverpool. They've just not been able to deal with anyone, whether they're playing a back 4 or a back 3. I don't know if that. I mean, you'd say that comes down to individuals, because neither system has been able to cope with it, and actually both systems should be able to cope with that quite well. So really that comes down to the personnel, and therefore Rodgers didn't play that very well. The problem being that Liverpool then looked completely out the match, as if they had no self-belief, which is an intangible. But Liverpool at times still looked like they just weren't up for it really. And
which is what Rodgers said after the game. Jack Grealish, the fresh face and the slick back hair of the young villain was on great form.
He was raved about in the Next Gen tournament. There was a brilliant youth tournament that was a few years ago. Best player in that tournament, and he's sort of coming through now. It's time to shine. You know, the England squad, why not get these players in nice and young, get them the experience?
Apparently he could play for Republic of Ireland or England, so obviously
big decision
for our interest. We hope it's England. Apparently Brendan Rodgers has become the first Liverpool manager since the 1950s not to win a trophy in his first 3 years in charge, Dave. Do you still have a bit of faith in Rodgers at the helm of Liverpool, or do you think perhaps there's time for a change?
Potentially he's tinkering with things a bit too much. He found an absolute winning formula last season with the 4-4-2 diamond.
But he had Suarez and a fit Daniel Sturridge all season.
If the signings had been better, they could have gone with Emre Can was a brilliant signing. He's not a defender. Playing him in that right-sided centre-back is exposing him. I think you'd go, imagine Henderson on one side of a diamond, Chan on the other side. Gerrard coming in and coming out, maybe someone filling in for Gerrard occasionally, and then Coutinho at that tip. Sterling with another striker, with a mobile striker up front, like a Lacazette, someone like that. That could have really, or Sturridge, Sturridge being fit for the season, that could really work for Liverpool. They should have stuck to that as their philosophy, their formation this season. And now he's sort of moved away from that. There's too many changes, and now it looks like a bit of a mess again. So.
Yeah, Laurence, just quickly, Rodgers should be given another year, should he not? I mean, this has been a bit of a funny year for Liverpool, and with Gerrard in the team and out and leaving next season, Gerrard will be away, and Rodgers can perhaps freshen up that squad a little bit.
Well, I think you'll either be able to find a stick to beat Rodgers with or not. Do you know? And basically, this has been a transitional phase for Liverpool. They've spent a lot of money in that time, which FSG have said themselves was to undo some of the mistakes of previous regimes. I think that's an interesting statement in itself. Not only that, but you'd say Rodgers has coped very well with his biggest player leaving this season and still keeping them relatively competitive, despite the fact he spent £100 million.
Harry Kane is the real deal, as if we needed any more proof, gentlemen.
We learned that.
My goodness. 30 goals for Tottenham Hotspur, the first Spurs striker to do this since Gary Lineker in 1992. One of the best debut seasons in the Premier League history.
I'd say so, yeah. The lad can finish, work rate, tackle, could do pretty much everything. And he's English, he's brilliant. If he scores, say, over 25 goals, you're looking at, yes, that is the best debut season ever. Other honourable mentions, you'd potentially go with that.
In football?
With anyone, in football, ever. Harry Kane is there. The next Lionel Messi. No, he's not really. That's
okay.
But, you're looking at other ones. Fernando Torres at Liverpool, 24 goals in 29 games, opening debut season. You could look at Ruud van Nistelrooy for Man United, 23 goals. 10 goals in the Champions League that season, top scorer. United didn't even get to the final. Good stats there.
It's not like those guys burned out when they got old. Oh.
Jurgen Klinsmann?
Yes.
I mean, another
old.
Spurs player, but even he didn't score the 30 goals.
No, that is the thing. I think it's the goals and the contribution, the amount of points that Harry Kane is winning for Spurs on his own has been pretty outstanding this season, and he's going to get strength to strength.
Absolutely, it's a funny one with Kane, Laurence, because people want to hold back in hyping him up, but he's almost leading his own hype machine because he keeps doing so well.
Yeah, but you can't say stop doing well so the hype stops. Do you know what I mean? It's the media.
Don't believe the facts.
Yeah, don't believe the facts. I mean, he's not the one saying, "Oh yeah, hype me up." He's just scoring goals. So I think the way the media reacts is often overhyped in itself.
Indeed, he's on 20 Premier League goals at the moment with Sergio Aguero. If he can pip Aguero and obviously Diego Costa's on 19, I think. He'd be the first Englishman to do that, win the Golden Boot since I think Kevin Phillips in 2000 when he scored 30 goals for Sunderland, Dave.
Yeah, I reckon that's where he's got to aim for. What would be fantastic if he stayed at Tottenham for another few seasons? He's really got to develop at Tottenham. He's getting the game time. He's Pochettino's main man. Spurs could really could really push on next year. Their system's really nice. They've got Eriksen. They've got Bentaleb. They've got a lovely blend of English players and sort of foreign players coming in, play a lovely style of football. Harry Kane needs to stay where he is.
Yeah. The Milan derby happened on the weekend. Ooh, how the mighty have fallen. This is the point, Laurence. Nobody was really too aware of it or caring, perhaps. It's a shame, and we've talked about this on the show before, that was once one of the biggest games in world football. Some would argue it is, but at the moment, in the current climate in Italian football, especially in northern Italy, in Milan, it is not particularly attractive to watch or indeed enticing to view, Dave. What do you think of that with the Milan derby? Do you feel quite sad about this? I mean, it was a 0-0. It seemed reasonably...
It's very, very sad. It's two real powerhouses of Italian football that have sort of really... They've hit their peak and now they're going down. They need massive investment, both of the clubs. You look at the game, Gary Medel completed 96 passes in the game, the most of any player on the pitch, sort of double everyone else. And if Gary Medel is running a game in any top flight of European football, you've got to ask, what's going on? Where's the likes of Kovacic? Where's there's so many players there that have got talent that are just not getting to their potential, and they're just...
We should also say Gary Medel was relegated with Cardiff not that long ago.
So, although he was picked out as one of the better players at Cardiff.
Of course, yeah.
It's just one of those things where Italian football needs investment, needs some new managers coming in. Maybe Ancelotti's go back to the league. The competitiveness needs to go back up. The fans need to start going to the grounds. I think one of the big things as well is the money in the game is sort of a bit weird. A lot of the teams don't own their stadiums; they rent them out. The money's going the wrong way. It's going to the wrong people, and they need the investment. They just need everything. I think they need to start again with the league.
Yeah, they need to start all over.
That is part of the problem, is that during their heyday, during the time when they were really building themselves up, they made a lot of very poor financial decisions. Yeah. And essentially a lot of the clubs sold out. And, if you sell your soul to the devil, ironic for Milan, then, you're going to have issues later on. So a real problem with when you ruin the politics within the league through the issue of match fixing and things like that is that you then ruin a lot of the investment within the league, because if people think it's financial doping or whatever you want to call it, or that there's some sort of crime going on, people are less likely to invest because they don't believe their investment will be returned.
So you're not saying this is a problem with the Milan clubs. You're saying it's an overall problem.
I'm saying they're symptomatic of what the problem is. They're a huge symptom of it. That they didn't directly take part in those things, but they have become a real issue of that.
Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho will have a delicious rivalry next season. Van Gaal was not happy at the end of that one, despite saying he felt that it was his team's best performance of the season. He was, and it's good that you're taking an interest. But he was.
I don't know what you mean.
He was a bit prickly with Guy Mowbray, the BBC reporter, Dave, wasn't he? Now, obviously, you're a Manchester United fan. Did you appreciate Louis' comments, or did you think he was being a bit silly?
You appreciate his sore losing?
I like it. I like being a sore loser. He's upset. We outplayed Chelsea. Probably should have beaten them in a way. Chances that we didn't take should have gone in. But I like that.
Should have gone in. You sound like a Liverpool fan,
it's
mate.
It's better than David Moyes, who would have probably started to cry in that instance. That Van Gaal actually had some ammunition, sort of got a little bit, angsty with the press.
Don't have a go at Moyes.
I like it. I like how Van Gaal sort of does those types of things. It's nice to see. It's refreshing. It's gone of the days. It's back to the days of sort of Ferguson versus Wenger, anyone really, where it was sort of very prickly, and if you asked him the wrong question, he'd give you an answer like that, and he'd sort of give you the look.
No, but they would be a bit of an idiot for a question or two, not the whole interview. And it's Guy Mowbray, it's not Jeff Shreves.
Well, the problem also being he asked the right question.
Yeah.
It was that Van Gaal again is deflecting in a way. But I think United fans like that because what it is, and I think every fan likes that. They like a bit of a sore loser manager that looks as if they care.
Yeah.
Because they do. But that's the issue, is that if they want someone who's going to be like, actually, no, that's not good enough. We did lose this game. And the fact is that, for as many shots as United had, and ultimately they didn't penetrate Chelsea. And, you can say we had the better of the game, we outplayed them, all those kind of things. What was the result in the end? And that's not good enough for a United side who, want to be beating the likes of Chelsea at this stage, especially considering who has been playing the better football in recent weeks. So ultimately, I think the biggest issue is, especially with some United fans who clutch at straws, not you, ultimately, if that was Liverpool, I think there'd be a lot of people reflecting going, well, that's a real... Or if that was Spurs, people going, well, another performance where they failed to break them down. But instead, we're blaming Chelsea for playing negative football. And the fact is that earlier in the season, when Chelsea were playing negative football against other teams, we were going, well, they just found him out. Mourinho found Van Gaal out and just went and sat back and went, you know what, fuck off. Like, we're going to do what we want. And earlier in the season, Chelsea were playing great football. You can't now turn around and say that football... The problem is there's too much football prescriptivism nowadays, because the likes of Barcelona, and I'm going on a rant, Barcelona...
No, I like it, no, but it's all good stuff.
But Barcelona have said for years, oh, well, if you don't play our style of football, you're not playing football.
Yeah, it's anti-football.
It's anti-football.
There are many ways to win a football match.
And that's rubbish, essentially. That's actually really bad football philosophy.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying there is you're putting a moral judgment on someone playing football. I understand that people say it's for entertainment, it's for all those kind of things. No, it's also to win games. It's also for other kinds of life lessons. And to some extent, I do like a good, frustrating 1-0, because there's something else to be learned from that. And United, I think United and Van Gaal will take something from that, and I think Van Gaal will want revenge for that.
The first thing that's really interesting about this game is Ander Herrera's start in defensive midfield. Absolutely dominated the first half, completed more passes than any other player in the first half. Fabregas and Drogba had to be moved and block the space off from United centre-backs to the midfield because of that, because he was dominating so much. And then Kurt Zouma nullifying Marouane Fellaini. Absolutely fantastic. You see, pre-game, I would have gone with Angel Di Maria, Fellaini and Herrera in midfield. For that reason, that Mourinho was definitely going to go with Kurt Zouma because he knew the threat of Marouane Fellaini's been causing the likes of Liverpool, Man City, Villa problems. So if you'd gone Angel Di Maria up against Kurt Zouma, that would have been a really interesting battle. Di Maria picking the ball up deep, really running at these players. The likes of Matic and Kurt Zouma, could you see against Angel Di Maria causing them a bit of a problem? But I think that's what Van Gaal will learn from this. That potentially when he does have a tactical option that works, and then Mourinho's very, very smart in that way, that he will figure those types of things out, that we do need other options.
Yeah.
Can I just say, thanks to Bielsa for both these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really needs acknowledging. There was an article in The Guardian the other day, I can really recommend going and reading it. It said something along the lines of, if Bielsa wasn't here, we'd need to invent him.
That's right.
Because you wouldn't have like Mourinho, LVG, Brendan Rodgers, all those guys. That whole generation.
Absolutely. Who would have thought Louis van Gaal be learning from Jose Mourinho? Jurgen Klopp will be a free agent come the end of the season. He says he's not spoken to any clubs at all. There's been lots of speculation in the Premier League already, Dave. I mean, he will be missed at Dortmund. He had 7 great years there. They've not been great this season, of course, but Champions League final, back-to-back league wins. He'll be a man who's very much coveted by a lot of the top sides.
Yeah, his football is why sides want to get him on board. It's brilliant. It's heavy metal, like he calls it.
That's
the
right.
High pressing game, in your face. We're going to score loads of goals on the counter attack. Every football fan wants to see that. I think there's a lot of clubs that he'd suit. I think there's going to be a special club that he's got to go for. I don't want to say it, but Liverpool would be a perfect fit for Jurgen Klopp.
Don't say it then.
Just said it there. Another one that I wouldn't want to say, Man City might be a good... If they're going to move on these players now, the likes of Yaya Toure, the likes of potentially David Silva, move them on, bring these young players through that Man City are producing, these players that are going around Europe now and appearing for top sides. Get Jurgen Klopp there. The Man City fans will take to him like anything. Get him a philosophy, get his philosophy in there, and Man City could become that force that they've been trying to become. But again, I wouldn't want to see him at Man City because of those reasons.
Sure, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, he does have a bit of a philosophy, Laurence. He's obviously jigged that around because they lost some big players. There's talk of him going to Arsenal. Now, he once said, as Dave said, he likes, as he described it, heavy metal football, a bit crash, bang, wallop and so on, which is not the way Arsenal are set up and haven't been for many, many years.
No, but they were marauding for quite some time. You would say they were allowed to do that through the midfield of Vieira and those kind of guys, and they had a slightly
more... But you're going back
to
the late the early 2000s, weren't you?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to back about a decade at this point. Maybe even more, actually. Probably, but slightly more than a decade. So some of you won't remember that. But slightly more than a decade. But that's the issue, is that there's... essentially, what we're saying is maybe City haven't been exciting enough.
Yes.
He excites City.
Yep.
Liverpool haven't been as electric as they were last season. You would rather give Rodgers some time to turn that around and maybe implement that a little bit more. Arsenal are looking to transition. So if Klopp's free, then it's maybe the best time to do it. And if Arsenal again win the FA Cup this season and make the Champions League, maybe it's another cue for Wenger to sort of go, it's all right, I'm going to step down.
I just think that Guardiola won't be at Bayern Munich for that much longer. He likes to achieve what he does and then go. I really believe that Guardiola would be a great fit for Arsenal. I'm not sure Klopp would be. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Big thanks to Dave and Laurence, of course. Gentlemen, it's been a ruddy pleasure as always. Get your comments in below and we'll see you next time.